Welcome to the In My Opinion show with Ronald B. Robinson and friends, seen on the internet 24 hours, 7 days a week. To view, in capital letters, type in RBRIMO. That stands for Ronald B. Robinson, In My Opinion. Again, type in capital letters, RBRIMO, to view our extensive catalog of shows. I want to welcome our millions of viewers worldwide, and I especially would like to welcome Mrs. Margaret Montgomery to the In My Opinion show. Welcome to the In My Opinion show.
Thank you.
Ms. Montgomery, would you tell the audience a little bit about you, your job, and what you brought in here today?
I worked for General Motors. I got hurt in 1990, and I sustained an injury from my pelvics and my lower part of my stomach and my knees. I was transferred to McLaren Hospital, and they found out that I only had one crack, which was on the right side of my pelvis. 2 weeks later, Dr. Norton released me. He found out that I was cracked on the other side of my pelvis, and then I turned up and I had a chip off my tailbone.
Where was Dr. Norton practicing at?
He's practiced on Bristol Road, but he was also affiliated with the hospital.
What hospital is that?
McLaren General Hospital.
Okay.
And also, while I was in there, I contracted crabs. I went on a Monday, on the 10th of September of 1990. When I discovered I had the crab was the 17th. And then I found 3 was on my washcloth. My nurse, which was Mary Hopper, she came in the room because I screamed out. When I screamed out, she came in the room. When I went back to my room, that's when they gave me quail lotion, and in the meantime, I pulled 4 eggs off of me, and I put them on a tissue. When I put them on a tissue, I called downstairs Margaret C. She came up and sealed them with tape. Then after she sealed them with tape, that was it. I didn't hear no more about that. So when I got discharged, Dr. Norton asked me to come and see him after I was discharged from the hospital. The hospital said I only had 1 crack on my right side and no evidence of any other injury. So when I seen Dr. Norton 2 weeks later on, that's when Dr. Norton discovered the tailbone was chipped and the left side of my pelvis was injured. Then Mr. Walensky's secretary contacted me, saying by now he should have contacted me, which he didn't. But he did come to my house, and I retained him. But I was going through, everything was detrimental to me because I never hurt like this before. Nothing like this had ever happened to me before. So I didn't realize when I got his retainer's agreement saying product liability case. When I called in to try to get some answers to this, when she wrote that letter saying that we was union sisters and brothers, and I called and asked her who gave her my information because my number was private, and she told me she wouldn't tell me who gave it to her. So after that happened, he had a case with workers' comp, went to court. I did not know he went on forced petition. He had me to sign an amended petition. And once I signed an amended petition, my original injury date was on there, which was 9/10/90. Once I left his office, he added another injury date, which was 6/20/91. I had no other injury. Kathy Allison was the representative for General Motors, saying I had only 1 injury. John Housefield was General Motors' lawyer. He wrote Walensky telling him that was the only one and only injury that I had. Why Housefield and Walensky and the magistrate Cynthia Johnson agreed to go to court on this amended petition that they know was fraudulent, I have no idea. But she ruled against me December the 19th of 91, saying that General Motors didn't owe me anything because they said that I had no other injury, which I said the same thing too. No other injury on June the 19th nor June 20th of 91. Then in 92, I filed with the grievance, letting the grievance know that I was not pleased with Mr. Walensky. So when the grievance told me that they needed more information, each time I sent something in, they told me, we're closing your case, we're not going to reopen it. So I continued to file. I started, and they wrote Walensky and told him that I had filed a complaint against him. But knowing to my behalf, he continued to represent me later on. So what happened, how I finally got my file, he held it for 10 years because the grievance wrote him in September and told him your client was here to file a complaint against you. So he would not give my file to me. I have other documents from other doctors, lawyers that I went to go and see. They referred me back to Mr. Walensky. Every avenue that I tried to talk to, I talked to the magistrate that ruled on my case. She said it's going to stay that way. I went and talked to the Kirk Peterson, which is the head of magistrates. He said it's going to stay with the magistrate Cynthia Johnson ruled on. But I had another magistrate, which was Smith. I can't remember her first name. All I know was Magistrate Smith. He changed from her and used Cynthia Johnson. So then after grievance wrote him and told him that I had took and filed a complaint against him. And he continued to represent me in the district court with McLaren as far as the crabs go, that I didn't know nothing about, and also about product liability case, which that's what his retainer's agreement says, that he continued to represent me. And I had no knowledge of nothing. I've been trying to get some help. Although the grievance told me over and over, ma'am, we can't help you, it's going to stay closed. Finally, I wrote the Supreme Court and told the Supreme Court what the grievance had done to me. The Supreme Court wrote to the grievance and told the grievance wrote to the Supreme Court and told the Supreme Court to seal my case and do not open it up for me. So, why would they seal my case? I'm the one that was hurt. I'm the one that was devastated. I'm the one that had the crabs. So why would they hear my case from me, of all people?
They shouldn't have, in my opinion. I'm not an attorney or anything like that, but I think that, that this could very well be a miscarriage of justice for you, Miss Montgomery, and that hopefully there's somebody out there that will, that will assist, Miss Montgomery, in her quest for justice, and fairness, whether it be McLaren, whether it be the rest of these
lawyers, the magistrate.
Okay. Now, you indicated that they requested the Supreme Court seal this.
Yes.
All right. Have you contacted the Supreme Court or anything like this to get any any kind of satisfaction or understanding?
No, because they said they're going to leave it sealed.
Okay.
And then I still was determined because I know that I was violated.
Mm-hmm.
It was devastating to catch crabs. You land up in the hospital and I'm in there for injury. Then all of a sudden, on my 7th day, I discovered that I had crabs on me, and I picked 4 eggs off of me. Margaret Cargill came. I called her. She said I gave her some black specks. Why would I pull some black specks off my pubic hair and give them to her? Those was eggs that came off of me. 4 eggs.
You $2,500.
And they wanted to offer me $2,500. I refused to take that.
So that right there would indicate that that they're culpable.
Yes, and not only that, what was so degrading, when this attorney, instead of him calling Margaret Cargill, the one that I gave the eggs to, and the nurse, Mary Hopper, the one that seen the crabs on the washcloth, they going to call my boyfriend in and degrade him by asking him, have I ever gave him crab, and have he ever gave me crab? Mm-hmm. That was degrading to us.
Absolutely.
Okay, but they did that. Walensky and Houseville. And then they had another attorney, because matter of fact, I've been pursuing this as many times. They kept telling me, you can't do nothing, it's closed. I continued from 92, 93, 94, 95, 97, 99. And I just went to a hearing with a magistrate here in Flint in July. Okay. I got the papers, all my paperwork to prove what I'm saying, with different letters that he wrote me saying he would appeal my case once he get a ruling on it. If I pay for it. I didn't give this man any money. Okay. So why did he continue to pursue my case without my knowledge? It says, now come Margaret Montgomery by through her attorney. Okay. I got letters from him stating, I did take General Motors to court. Well, what was I at when you took General Motors to court? He said, I got it off the computer where misconduct is. He's supposed to have been truthful to me. He's supposed to have been honest with me, and he's supposed to have not been deceitful to me. All of that was misconduct on all 3 parts. The magistrate, Cynthia Johnson, John Houseville, and also Neil Walensky. All of them violated my rights.
Well, did you contact the Michigan Attorney Grievance Commission?
That's who my complaint is. That's the one I told you that I filed a complaint with them, and they wrote the Supreme Court, told them to seal my case. I even, I don't have that paperwork where I shouldn't mention it, but I contacted Mrs. Clack, Brenda Clack. Sure. I tried to contact Ms. Vera Risen, and none of them didn't do anything for me. Ms. Clack did write Governor Granholm when she was in office. She responded back telling Ms. Clack I was just another constituent that didn't like the outcome of my case. I mean, I've been pursuing this for years. Okay. Finally, I'm at the point I'm begging someone to help me because I was truly violated. This man, well, like I say, when everything was over with, he wrote my doctor back in October of 92 after Mr. Floyd Steele wrote him and said, your client came to see me, I'm referring her back to you. This man then wrote my doctor that he had no business writing, asking her to send a check. I got the check saying he sent him my medical records on the memo of the check that he wrote to her. Why would he need my medical records? The workers' comp was over with in 91. The hospital deal with that I knew about was over with January the 24th of 92. Mm-hmm. So why did he need my records for anything? That's like I was violated. It's really, you can't explain how I felt with this man. Why he trying to get something that he wasn't supposed to? Because he didn't have no right to do that.
Well, was he a company lawyer?
I feel he was doing something to get on their payroll, because like I say, when his secretary contacted me, I did not know that lady. Okay. I was on my way going to church on a Sunday morning when she contacted me 2 weeks after my injury, saying, I see you home from the hospital, and we brothers, sisters, and brothers. We're in the union. Mm-hmm. This woman worked for a lawyer. She's not in the union. Now, her friend that worked at General Motors worked out there. I didn't know them. Okay. That was the white couple. I didn't know them. Okay. She didn't know me. But I was so devastated because who gave her this information? I asked her later on, Jan, who gave you this information about me home from the hospital? Oh, Margaret, we should union sisters and brothers. She wouldn't tell me.
Now, tell our viewing audience what this lady's full name was, if you know.
Jan Posey. Posey.
Okay.
Yes, Jan Posey. That was her name at the time. Jan Craig Posey.
Okay, and she worked again.
She worked with the lawyer, Winlinsky, Neil Winlinsky. That was his secretary.
Okay. Did you pursue with the Attorney Grievance Commission, that complaint against that attorney that you speak of?
Yes. Okay. I complained with the tenure committee against the magistrate. Mm-hmm. They told me they was not going to investigate. She didn't want no investigation, even though I didn't have all the material, because he didn't give it to me until 2001. He called the Grand Blanc police on me and told the Grand Blanc police that I threatened his office. That's how I got my file. Okay, Grand Blanc police, in return, I think his name was Officer Miller, I'm not for sure. Mm-hmm. But he called me and told me, did you call Winlinsky's office? I said, yes, I did. He said, well, he called me and said, you threatened him. I said, no, sir. I said, I've been asking him for my papers for years, and he would not release them to me. So he had the audacity, with everything he done to me now, violated me, misconduct, fraud, perjury, and then he had the audacity to call the Grand Blanc police on me and said I called his office and threatened someone in his office. The officer told me, he said, ma'am, do not call this office anymore. I'll get you your paper. That's how I got everything that I have now.
Well, allegedly, he was perhaps maybe trying to cover his tracks.
He was. Because, like I say, for somebody to continue to represent a person, then I have from Mr. Housefield, which agreed to go to court on an amended petition that the magistrate herself said, Cynthia Johnson, that the Bureau did not receive no papers on this injury, but she would allow them anyway to go to court on an injury that never happened. So what is she ruling on? Okay. She even degraded me to say that I smoked the marijuana. This lawyer had documents from doctors stating that I had no history of marijuana. But he also had a therapist, Patty Wagenhoff, that I didn't like and she didn't like me. So Eric, he got a deposition from her the 23rd of January, just before the trial date. He got 2 depositions from my family physician, Dr. Mendoza. But in the magistrate's opinion, she said she used a sick leave paper that Henry Mendoza went against me. Dr. Mendoza, later on, I asked him, Dr. Mendoza, did you go against me? Which I know he didn't. But Winlinsky did not use neither one of those depositions. One he sent to the workers' comp, Darlene Johnson. I had thought maybe she could have been related to Cynthia Johnson. But why would he do a deposition from my doctor? And I wasn't even present. I was only present at one deposition, and that was with Margaret, Mary Hopper.
And you knew nothing about
I knew nothing about the rest of them. When he offered, it says a violation for him to offer to pay anybody any money. My doctor wrote him back and told him I'm going to charge you between $100 and $200 for this deposition. Ms. Wagenhoff is charging him $500 for her deposition. Where's he getting this money from? I didn't have none, and I didn't pay him.
Sure. Okay. Well, it sounds like, again, if there's somebody out there that will assist Miss Margaret Montgomery on her quest.
Margaret Montgomery Tuggle.
This is Margaret Montgomery Tuggle in her quest for for justice,
yes,
please give us a call. And you can contact me, and I would certainly give this message back to Mrs. Montgomery Tuggle. Do you want to share your phone number?
Yes, I have a phone number that they can contact me by, which is 391-85. Oh Lord, I can't think of that number.
It'll come.
Yeah, okay, it'll come. I had wrote it down to make sure. Tricia had wrote it down. Anyway, it's 810-399-8364. I'm sorry. 399-8364-810. If that's not it, try 391-8364.
What about email?
I have an email, mtuggle81@yahoo.com. But so please, someone, look at this, because I've been trying for years. Like I said, I just went to a magistrate July, and she asked me to don't come into her office no more instead of investigating or looking at my material. No one looked at my material. They went along with this attorney saying, I did do this and I did do that, but he didn't produce nothing.
Well, also, this magistrate,
Cynthia Johnson.
if you feel that she didn't do her job,
right,
you can still go to Attorney Grievance Commission, because she is an attorney.
I went to the disciplinary board against her.
Okay.
And they told me also she didn't want no investigation.
Mm-hmm.
They didn't do nothing to her either, because no one looked at my material. See, when I went to several lawyers, and the lawyers looked at this opinion, they saw where I was violated by reading here where she said I had an injury of one date, and to flip the page, she said I had another injury date, and she said I did assembly line work. I ain't worked assembly line work in years in Grand Blanc. Okay. I worked maintenance department. Then on this page here, she said I worked in maintenance department. Then back here, she said I took it upon myself and got the walking cane on June 19th. She said I worked a few hours. Right here, June 20th, I was taken to labor relations. Labor relations put me at the plant because I had a cord cane. I was still hurting. Dr. Norton told them my tailbone was chipped and I was cracked on the other side and my knees was hurting. I couldn't stay in that plant.
Sure.
The doctor released me to go back to work on the 4th. They put me on a sick leave April the 4th. Okay, I hired in on the 4th. I didn't return to work until the 5th. Shop doctor told them, put her on another week. How they gonna reopen my comp case up for another week and turn around and close the back?
Well, it sounds like they're allegedly they're in
cahoots together. Yes, each one of them, the magistrate, the General Motors, all of them.
Have you contacted, say for instance, another attorney outside of Genesee County?
I tried. I even went to Mississippi. I went over in Chicago. I went to Jesse Jackson, Rainbow Push. I joined his organization over there. Once I joined, that lawyer told me, ma'am, I can't practice out of state. So I've been getting to run around every place I went.
Well, if I could, perhaps maybe I could suggest, something to pursue, like Jeffrey Feiger's office.
They wouldn't do appeals.
No?
I done checked that too. They would not do appeals.
Here in Flint, Michigan, Tom Patz.
Well, I did have Mr. Vigiletti and Dow Breed down on Court Street, right? That's the lawyer that wrote back to Walensky telling him, I had the pleasure of meeting your client, and I'm referring her back to you because you had filed for an appeal. But in the meantime, I didn't know what that man continued to do. So I guess they talked, and this is why he wouldn't take the case. So all somebody got to do is look at this opinion, because it's fraudulent.
And also another attorney, Glenn Lindhoff.
No one so far. Like I said, I'm hoping and pleading now that someone will come, and so I can get some closure to this, because I don't have to have a complete right hip replacement. They said now I got to have a knee replacement on the left side, and I'm old and I'm really scared to have it done. But this is saying I have been going devastated. This has been too much.
Do you have any? Do you have insurance now?
Well, they did give me insurance. They gave me insurance, and the only way I got Social Security was through mental because of my injury. I didn't get nothing. Okay. It took 5 years from me. Okay. They took part of my pension away. I'm barely making it.
Well, hopefully you will pursue this, and and do not let it.
But I don't know what else I can do after I'm asking on the TV that somebody please contact me because I got the documents. I don't have them at my house, but I do have the documents that I can prove what they done to me. And get a hold to.
What is that? What is your phone number and email address again?
391-8364.
Okay. And your email?
810. Email's mtuggle at yahoo.com. No, I'm sorry, 81 at yahoo.com. mtuggle 81 at yahoo.com.
So that is 810-391-8364. Email is Tuggle at 81 yahoo.com. Correct?
Yeah, and if that's not the correct number, tell them try 855-8364. I mean 399-8564.
Or you can contact the In My Opinion show.
Yeah, In My Opinion show be best.
And In My Opinion, RBR at att.net.
Please.
In reference, Mrs. Margaret Tuttle. Excuse me, Mrs. Margaret Montgomery Tuttle. And I'm sure that hopefully that this program will generate you some help.
Yes.
And please don't let it don't get to the point where you're discouraged and let it go.
No, because I've been fighting 20-some years.
And I know you're in pain.
Yes,
All
because
right.
I just had this hip replacement, and I got to have this other, my knee done, and I'm still having pains all the time because of my tailbone tipped.
Yeah.
Arthritis done set in my body.
And since this is a General Motors town, I can kind of like, this my opinion,
Yeah.
all right, that it sounds like Mrs. Tuggle is she is not being treated fairly.
No.
All right, not at all. All right. But at this time, we must bring the In My Opinion show to a close, and I want to thank Mrs. Margaret Montgomery Tuttle for sharing, her painful story, with our viewership. And again, anyone out there, please, if you view this program, please get in touch with this lady, because she's, in my opinion, she's deserved of help. But at this time, I must bring the In My Opinion show to a close. I want to thank you, Mrs. Tuttle, for appearing on the show. And you, our viewing audience, until next time, this is Ronald B. Robinson saying, stay focused.
Good night.